What's up, people? Welcome back to the Rat Cave. It's Ratzi here for DJKit. Big day today from Pioneer DJ. They've just announced the brand new DJM-S11. This mixer has been long awaited for a lot of scratch DJs and battle DJs. The former Pioneer DJM-S9 was literally, it's 5 years old now. It was announced in October 2015. So now, October 2020, Pioneer DJ have come out with the DJM-S11. There's so much going on this mixer. I'm going to try and keep this video brief and then go into it in a bit more detail in some videos in the future. But yeah, this thing, like I've been using it all day and it is absolutely blown my mind. So let's get into it. So as you can see, I've got the S11 set up here with two Pioneer DJ PLX 1000s, one of which I'm actually running with phase and the other I'm using a timecode record. Now, before the comment section starts popping off, yes, this is a Rekordbox timecode record and I am going to be using it with Serato and Rekordbox as well. The DJM-S11 is compatible with both Serato DJ and Rekordbox DJ. And, you know, for those that don't know, you can use Serato timecoded vinyl with Rekordbox and obviously Serato, and vice versa. You can use Rekordbox timecode vinyl with Serato DJ. There are very, very minor differences, so I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time, but you know, it does work. So let's start off with a look at the mixer itself. Now, you can see here with these two turntables in battle mode, there's not much in it in the length. Like, this mixer is a lot longer than the S9 was. Just to say as well, you know, I am going to be probably comparing this S11 to the S9 throughout this video, but I am going to do a dedicated S11 versus S9 comparison video that is coming very soon. So keep your eyes on that. I'll probably pop the link in the description of this video once it's done. So yeah, this is like the longest battle mixer I think that I've played on. But of course, the extended size of the length here opens up a lot of space for new things, such as this beautiful touchscreen here. So I'll get onto the touchscreen in a little bit, but let's start at the top here. As you can see, the EQ on this S11 is vertical, whereas on the S9, it was kind of, you had like two pots here, and the filters were in different places. This is so much better for me. I mean, this is the typical layout that you see of EQ and a filter on all DJ controllers, pretty much all mixers. You know, this is more familiar for people. And I think that that is a really good decision from the guys at Pioneer to go with this vertical EQ and the filter directly underneath, which people are used to. Now, of course, what that does is leaves a lot more room for the browse pot here. So, you know, there's no chance of sort of nudging one of the EQ pots while you're browsing for your next tune or whatever. And then underneath the browse pot, as you can see here, the back and load are in the same place as they were on the S9, but the load button is a lot bigger. So underneath the back and load, you've got the looping section here. The default of the auto loop is 4. But the great thing about having the screen now is you can see the size of the loop before you drop it in on the auto loop button. So, you know, you can change it by pressing these buttons here, and it tells you on the top of the screen here, top right for this channel, top left for this channel. So, you know, you can sort of pre-prepare the size of the loop before you drop it. So like I said, it does default on 4. But, you know, I can change it to 2 or 1 or a half. It goes all the way down to 1/32 of beat. So, you know, very, very small, and it goes all the way up to 32 beats. So, yeah, you know, nice to have that option to see what size loop you're dropping in on that auto loop. Also, when you hold shift, you've got the manual in and out loop there as well. So let's move down to the effects section now. And the effects on this mixer is, well, one of the many things really where it really excels. So as per the S9, you've got your beat effects over the left-hand side and then your software effects over here on the right-hand side. But you can customize all of these effects without even touching your laptop. So let's start with the beat effects here. There are now 22 built-in beat effects on this S11. So the difference between the beat effects and the software effects, you know, obvious thing really, the beat effects are built into the mixer. So if you're using this mixer, not with Serato or Rekordbox, but with, you know, normal vinyl or you know, CDJs, media players, whatever you're using it with, you can use these beat effects without a computer. And you can customize these effects straight from the mixer. So by doing that, let's use echo for example. As you can see, I've got echo selected here. If I press and hold the echo effect and then use the browse button here, as you can see, it goes through the effect. So you can pick your effect like that. There are, like I said, 22 effects, so plenty to choose from, and you can customize that for all 6 of these beat effects buttons here. So that's how you customize those effects without going into the screen. I will show you how to do it on the screen later on in the video. So over to the software effects now. As you can see, similar to the S9 layout, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, this is the same as the layout in Rekordbox or Serato with the 3 effects on each side. But the great thing which you can do on this new S11 is you can combine multiple software effects all at the same time. So, you know, you can have 1 or 2 or 3, or you can even go all the way up to having 6 software effects at the same time. And as if 6 effects at the same time isn't enough for you, you can also combine it with the beat effects as well. So pretty mad. You know, there is some real sort of creativity to be had with this DJM-S11, especially when you're sort of going through your software, whether it be Rekordbox or Serato, and picking your favorite effects and the effects which you're more likely to use. You can smash out 7 effects at once. Again, with these software effects, you know, combining them all and stuff, there are more options to do that within the screen, which I will get onto shortly. So now let's move down onto the performance pads. I can't tell at this point actually without comparing them next to each other. I think that they might be just about the same size as what was on the S9. But I do have to say the pads feel a lot nicer, like almost softer, I think. So, and again, like the S9, you know, they're good sized pads and spaced apart enough and a big enough size that you can sort of be finger drumming, you know, without worrying about hitting any of the others by mistake. Now, one of the most requested updates which has come to this S11 is that now it has independent pad modes. So what that means is, you know, I can be on hot cue over on channel 1 here and then roll on channel 2. Whereas on the S9, if I selected hot cue over here, it would be hot cue over here as well. So massive thumbs up to Pioneer DJ for bringing that in. That was a really important feature which needed to come on this S11, and they've delivered. Now, of course, this mixer can be used with both Serato DJ and Rekordbox, but it is kind of leaning more towards the Serato user, and there are a few sort of quite obvious examples of that, like on the performance pads down here, what's actually written on the mixer, that is the functions in Serato, whereas in Rekordbox, it is whatever your pads are assigned to, which is of course customizable within Rekordbox. But so let's just take a little look at what's in Serato. So you've got hot cue, roll, saved loop, and the sampler. And then if you double tap, you've got the gate cue, double tap roll, cue loop, double tap save loop, auto loop, double tap sampler, transport mode. And then if you shift and hot cue, you've got pitch play, shift and roll, you've got the slicer loop, shift and save loop, you've got the saved flip, and shift and sampler, you've got the scratch bank. Now, the scratch bank is something which for me is one of the standout features on this DJM-S11. I don't believe it's ever been done before in any software or, you know, like battle mixer kind of vibe. So it is an absolute game changer. But unfortunately, the scratch bank feature is only in Serato. It's not in Rekordbox. So kind of goes back to what I was saying about this leaning towards the Serato user more than the Rekordbox user. So what scratch bank is in a nutshell is within Serato, you go onto the vinyl with the like the hand on the vinyl icon on the top left of Serato. in the software. And then it brings up what almost looks like an extended kind of sampler. And then what you can do is pre-prep banks of scratch samples or, you know, tunes, acapellas, whatever you want to put in there. Pre-prep, you can put hot cues in there as well. You can set them so that there's like an immediate loop. You can key lock them. And, you know, what it does, like, if you're playing a tune and then you want to quickly jump to your favorite scratch sample, you know, like rather than having to go through and find it or whatever, you can just hit the scratch. That's, you know, sample which I've put into the scratch bank within Serato, and, you know, it's immediate. It's an immediate drop. The kind of whole vibe with this mixer is the way that scratch battles go these days, and, you know, things are so like creative and fast moving and complicated at times. This DJM-S11 has made it so you don't have to be over on your laptop selecting tunes and dragging and dropping scratch samples and stuff. Pretty much everything that you would be doing on your laptop in the past, you can now do on this S11, particularly within the screen. So another benefit using this S11 with Serato in terms of the performance pads as well is that it's got a Combi Pad Mode. So what Combi Pad Mode is you can use two of the pad modes at the same time, and they get split along the top and the bottom pads. So for example, hot cue and roll, the hot cue goes along the top, the roll goes along the bottom. Whichever you press first goes along the top. So, I mean, for example, to reverse that, roll and hot cue, the hot cues are now along the bottom, the rolls along the top. So going back to the independent pad modes per channel, you know, you can have two sort of pad modes for that channel there, and then two pad modes for that channel there. So you can have 4 different pad modes going at the same time across your 2 channels, which is a huge, again, you know, a huge thing creativity wise, and, you know, bouncing back to and from effects and stuff. You know, this is an awesome tool for battle DJs or even just party DJs or anyone really who is going for this DJM-S11 mixer. Like I say though, unfortunately that is only in Serato DJ and not in Rekordbox. So hopefully that will be something which will come down the line with Rekordbox, because I reckon that's a wicked feature. So another new feature on the DJM-S11 is this smooth echo function down here. Now, it's something which you wouldn't really think would be kind of that important, but now that it's on here and I've been playing with it, I'm like, where has this been? So what it does is, you know, you activate it just by pressing the button like that. I'll turn this up a little bit to see if you can hear it. So you can assign this within the screen settings to go either on the crossfader or on the volume fader, and you can also assign the amount of the echo, you know, the size, how long it kind of echoes for and all that stuff. But yeah, basically, so if you can hear that there, you know, I've got that on the crossfader and on the channel fader as well. Hopefully that will come through on the camera microphone. But, you know, what that does is it frees up a hand so that you don't have to be hitting the echo up there and hitting the paddle and all that stuff. And like I said, you can customize it within the screen, which I'll show you how to do in a minute. But it just kind of brings another element into this mixer, particularly in a scratch way. Like, you know, if you've got a scratch sample, for example, like, it just gives it a little bit more depth. And the thing is as well, you know, it's obviously all post fader, but it is also a hardware effect. So the smooth echo works when you're using this mixer, not with Serato or Rekordbox, when you're using it with anything else. So, you know, really strong additive, the smooth echo. Thumbs up to Pioneer. I'm a big fan of that. So speaking of the crossfaders and the volume faders, you've got the Magvel Fader Pro as the crossfaders. The standard volume faders, which, to be honest, I thought that they would do, you know, the 1, 2, 3, which we've seen on other scratch mixers that have been brought out just recently. But in fairness, you know, you had the Mag Fader Pro on the S9, and there wasn't very many complaints about that. And even now, they've actually improved the Magvel Fader Pro. So it's buttery, it's great, you know, great to scratch with. And even though they're not on the volume faders, there wasn't many complaints about that on the S9 either. You know, the only real complaint was the paint chipping off on the S9 mixer itself. But apparently this paint is a lot more hard wearing, so you won't get that horrible sort of scratched, you know, peely paint, which was, I think it was on the first batch of S9s, but then they improved it later on in like the future. But yeah, so you've got the Magvel Fader Pro, which does feel ever so lovely. And then on the front of the mixer, again, similar to the S9, that's where you've got all of your crossfader adjusts, so the feeding adjust, the reverse, the curve, and then the channel curves as well, and the channel reverses. And while we're on the front of the mixer, that's where you've got your mic EQ, so you've got a high and a low EQ, obviously mic level, turning the mic on and off, turning the echo on and off, and then the echo sort of knob, you know, how much echo you've got in and out on the microphone, and also the aux level. Finally, on the front, you've got two size headphones. You've got the 1/4 inch jack and the 3.5. So I've done the front. Now let's look at the back of the mixer. Again, you know, not much new on there in terms of like comparing it to the S9, apart from the dual USB dock. So this is kind of why I opted to use Phase in this video, because, you know, for those that don't know about Phase, it's powered via USB. So I've got this Phase plugged into one of the docks on the back here. You know, the bonus as well is you can use it with, say, the Rain 12s, which will plug directly into here and talk to Serato perfectly. CDJs in HID mode, when you're using them with Rekordbox, you can plug them directly into the mixer. I mean, you know, we all know, particularly now, where the new sort of laptops and MacBooks and stuff have got USB-C inputs. You know, you don't have to mess around with a adapter, or even like, says me over here with my older MacBook. But, you know, look, when I go and play gigs, normally I have to bring a USB extension when I'm playing in HID mode. And also it does power the XP1. This is an XP1 and the XP2. So, you know, this is perfect for kind of DVS users as well. More pads. You know, you've got your effects up here. I use one when I DJ out in HID mode, but this is USB powered. So again, instead of having to plug it into your laptop, you can plug it into the hub, and that powers that as well. So really, really good feature, putting that hub onto this DJM-S11. Also, the sound quality has vastly improved from the S9 on this S11. This has now got the same sound quality as the Club Standard, I hate that word, Club Standard mixers, you know, the 900 Nexus 2, it shares the same audio quality. So you're getting a lot better sound out of this compared to the S9. And, you know, with all of these effects that you can now hit on here and everything, you want it to be sounding crisp and lovely, and you've got that on this new DJM-S11. Right then, let's talk about the screen. So on this DJM-S11, this is a 4.3 inch customizable single touch screen. So it's not multi-gestural where you can zoom in and out of the waveforms or whatever. It's only single touch. But I've got to say, in terms of the waveforms, they're probably some of the best like waveforms that I've seen. They're not very jittery or anything. You know, they're uber smooth, and I'm really impressed with it. Another little thing about the waveform is when you hold shift and press on the bottom, it zooms the waveform out, or zooms it in when you press it on the top, but you have to be at that center line down the middle. And also shift and touching the waveform along the side, you can needle search like that. Now, I'm hoping that this screen's coming up all right in the camera, but what you can do here in the settings of the screen. So again, having this screen on this mixer prevents having to go into utility settings within Serato and Rekordbox and all that stuff. And, you know, the S9 app that you had to use to customize the S9 before, you can do all this on the actual mixer now. And it just takes your head away from your laptop. And it's just so good. You can change it so quickly, and you can save your settings so that, you know, they're there for when you load them up and everything like that. There's so much that you can do to customize this mixer. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm just going to show you some of my favorite points. So in performance, you know, you can go in, you can sort out your crossfader cuts, and the cut lag, and how smooth you want it, and, you know, whether or not you actually want the crossfader on or off or whatever, which is a great thing to have there. And then, especially if you're going back to back, you know, there's two USBs, you can put two laptops into this. If you're going back to back, and the other DJ that you're DJing with has got different crossfader preferences to you, it's so easy to change it. You've got loop options in there. Like I said before, with like the default loop size, you can actually change this to your preferred loop length. So whenever you hit the auto loop, you know, you can say, oh, I want it on a 4 or 2 or an 8 or whatever. I've got that off, but you can turn that on. So that's a wicked thing as well. Then you've got the pad mode options, load options, fader start. Now in display here, again, plenty of ways to actually customize what the screen looks like. So you can turn whether or not the info is on the screen. So just for an example, if I turn off the sync and the key lock button and the effects display, if I take that off and then I actually go back to the waveform, you know, that little menu at the bottom there has gone. So you've got more of, you can see more of the waveform. And, you know, if that's your thing, I mean, personally, I prefer to have the, I prefer to have them on so that I know what's going on, again, without having to really look at the laptop. What it's got as well is this Waveform Touch function. So when you've got the waveforms going on your screen, you can select whether or not you want to pitch bend them when you actually touch them on the screen, or, you know, shift them up and down deck move. You can turn needle search on and off with the shift. I'm dangerously going into this here. I wanted to keep this video kind of short. There are so many ways to customize this mixer. This is one of my favorites actually. So in browse display, you can choose whether you want 1 line or 2 lines. So if I just show you, it was on 2 lines before. So that's what 2 lines look like. And if I let go of that, browse as well, it takes you back to the options screen. So you can almost preview what you want it to look like. Or if you are kind of doing your, sorting your preferences out in here and your tune's going to quickly run out, you know, you can go like that, bang a tune in on that load button and boom, it's in there. And then it takes you back to the preferences screen so you can continue doing whatever you were doing. So also as well, you can change the font size from small, medium to large, which is always a touch. So that's on medium, large, looks like that. And I'll just show you small, I might as well now. Small looks like that. So obviously, you know, this, if you put it on small and 1 line, you could have a lot of your tunes displayed in one window while you're browsing. Now, lastly, on the display, you've got the screen settings here. So you've got LCD brightness. This goes all the way up to 5, which I will turn down. I think it's better for the camera for you guys to see if I have it down low. But then what you've got as well is day mode here. So again, you know, great for daytime DJing. Serato bought this in, you know, a while back. So it's great to see this on the mixer itself. So you can change the screen. It basically inverts it. What's black was white, what's white is black. But yeah, it's nice to have that on there for the daytime mixing. So that's just performance and display. I mean, you know, you've got mic settings in here, mixer settings, other settings. You've got settings locked. So if you are going back to back and you don't want the other DJ to mess with what you're doing, you know, you can hit that settings lock, and then you've got factory reset as well. So that is the utility menu. Now let's take a look at the actual menu itself. So I kind of showed you before, but you've got browse here. You can do that with the browse knob here, or you can do it with your finger up and down. Do you know what? I'm actually going to take that off and put it back to medium. Actually, I'll put it on large so it's easier for you guys to see maybe. But yeah, if I go back here, so browse, yeah, and as you can see, it shows you your, I've got this in order of key, but you can sort your tunes by pressing that there, and you've got key, BPM, song, artist, or track number. I prefer to have mine in key just because I normally already make my playlists around the same BPM, so it's nice to have all the tunes in key there. Then you've got deck 1, deck 2. So that's your browse in a nutshell. I just want to show you the waveforms as well. So before I took them off and just had those plain waveforms here, but you've got the information here. You've got the key lock or the sync, which you can turn on or off. Key lock you can turn on or off. And you've got the menu down here, which tells you your parameters of the size of the effect and what effect it is. And the auto down there, I doubt you can see that, is for the BPM of the tune, which is flashing there. So right then, let's go into the effect settings now. So this is where I mentioned before, you can customize all of your settings within the mixer. So for example, let's use echo as an example. It's the first effect on here. It's typically the most used effect in my opinion, well, for me at least. So to change the echo to something else, you hit the button there. As you can see, echo, backspin, flanger, reverb, you can change it all. If I hit echo there, then boom, here's your 22 new beat effects. So, if I change echo to, what is it on there? Let's say echo out instead. There you go. So now, even though it says echo on there, it's acting as an echo out. And then you can control the level, the depth, the high pass frequency there. And then you've got the hold option as well. So you can do that for all of these. And like I said, you've got 22 different beat effects to choose from. So what you can do as well is, once you've customized all of this, you can save it to a bank along the top. So, when you want to go back maybe for a particular routine or a particular set where you've got a few effects on here which you wouldn't use in another routine or another set, you can save it to the different banks and then select whichever bank you want, which will load up all of the changes that you've made on the mixer. So actually, not only can you change these beat effects from 22 beat effects, but let's just go back to echo here again. You can actually combo these with the software effects over here. So this is where this mixer gets really, really crazy. Basically, you can say, right, I want an echo and a software effects number 2, which is whatever obviously you've got it assigned to within your software. But you can hit multiple effects at the same time, which you can also do within the effects over here. You can combo these all together. You know how, like I showed you before, when you physically combo the buttons like that. On here, in this menu setting, you can actually say, let's say effects number 1. I want that effect when I press it to not only hit effect number 1 in my software, but effect number 1, 2, and 3 all on this one side there. So there you go. So now when I hit that, 3 effects come on at once within my software. It is crazy what you can do. Another awesome thing about customizing this mixer is changing the filter. So if I go back, as you can see here, I can change this filter to 5 different options. You can have filter, noise, pitch, dub echo, or a wide filter, and you can change the resonance of it. So basically how it sounds all within the screen. You couldn't change the filter on the S9, I don't think. It had to be a filter. But, with other kind of DJ software and stuff, or controllers, sorry, should I say, you need to go into the software to change that, but you can do that on this mixer. Now, another awesome way to customize this mixer is by changing the software effects over here into beat effects. So, like I said before, the beat effects are hardware, so you can use them when you're playing just normal vinyl or not using a laptop, right? So you can change these software effects to beat effects so that you've got 2 banks of beat effects if you are using this without a laptop. So from where I changed it to that combi before, just go into that drop down menu again, and there you go. You know, I can turn that into a spiral now. So if I just go back, look, it says spiral there, but then effects 2, 3, and then the 1, 2, 3 down there, they're still software effects, but I've added beat effects to number 1 here. So, you know, perfect if you are using this without your laptop. Finally, in the effect settings here, you can control the smooth echo feature. So select what triggers the smooth echo, so whether or not the crossfader or the channel fader or whatever. Also, how many beats it echoes for, and also the level, so like, you know, how much of it echoes for. And then down the bottom here, this is really clever actually. You can say the number of beats to be triggered by the crossfader. So for example, I've got this on 2 at the moment. If I don't move that crossfader for 2 beats, then the smooth echo will kick in. But if I hit it within the 2 beats, then it won't. So work there, but then if I leave it for more than 2 beats, it works then. So, you know, that's a nice feature for maybe sort of battle DJs or beat juggling even, or something like that, you know. So yeah, that is the smooth echo effects. Then you've got your mic echo customization in there as well. So that is your all of your customization for your effect settings. So while we're still kind of on effects, let's take a look at the touch effects. Now, we've seen this before. This is similar to a Chaos pad, and it's on another battle mixer that we all know quite well. What this is it is basically a touch effect. So in this at the top here, you've got channel 1 and channel 2. That's what it's affecting. And then in the settings, you've got preset effects. So you've got roll and pitch, or echo and filter. And then the hold mode, basically what hold mode does is it will keep on doing the effect, and then you just click it to take it off. Or with the hold mode off, you literally do it with your finger. So super fun to do. So the 2 presets, roll and pitch, echo and filter, then you can actually customize this, like you can customize everything on this mixer. And you can change what the effects are by filtering through over here. So plenty of customization in that, and you know, great fun to add, because as well, of course, you can hit that touch effects on top of the beat effects, on top of the software effects. And when you've got all that going at the same time, particularly with the combos and stuff, I mean, you know, mind blowing. So now then, touch MIDI in the screen here. You've got 4 different MIDI banks of stuff. In a nutshell, this is the kind of stuff which again stops you from going over to touch your laptop. So this is the stuff within Serato or Rekordbox, which you would have to kind of click or whatever. You've got it all in here. Switching on internal mode on and off, like key lock, key up, key down, beat sync, you know, key sync, that kind of stuff. You've actually got play and pause buttons here. They only work, of course, when you're in internal mode. Quantize and stuff. And then you've got effects parameters here as well, which controls that circular thing like within Serato, you know, the amount of the effect and stuff. So yeah, really good stuff to have there with the touch MIDI. Almost like a get out of jail free. If your turntables or your CD players, CDJs or whatever die, you could DJ just using that touch MIDI. Now finally, and this is probably the best feature for me on this new DJM-S11, don't let the 2 channels fool you. You can actually go 4 decks on this bad boy. So if I just go into deck 3, basically this controls deck number 3 in Serato or Rekordbox. You know, makes sense to change your software to 4 deck view, obviously, so you can see what you're doing. This is deck 3. If I go into screen select, you've got simple, mashup, hot cue, or mixer. So this is on simple at the moment, where you can browse up and down to select your tune. I should say at this point, if the browse knob here, that isn't for deck 3, that will always be deck number 1. So to browse, you do need to select your tune with your finger on the actual screen. Scroll through like that, sorry, on the actual screen. And then to load the tune, you Deck 3 load, and there it is. And then you press play down the bottom. There it is. So yeah, and obviously with this, it's helpful to have the sync up here, which will sync with the rest of the tunes. You've got loops down here, and you can launch hot cues as well. Put hot cues in and then mute the track if you want to bring it out. So that's in simple mode. Now, mashup mode is where this really, really blows your mind. You've got deck move here, which will move deck 2 to deck 3 without stopping the tune from playing. So it will free up space for you to drop another tune while you're playing this one. I've still got the sync on there. You've got key lock, and dual deck is a really, really great function on this. So what dual deck does is let you manipulate 2 tunes at the same time. So if you sort of prep a tune in deck 3 and you put a hot cue in it, and then you've got a hot cue on deck number 1, when you hit the hot cue, it will launch both of the hot cues on deck 1 and deck 3 at the same time. I mean, literally, that's why they called it the mashup. That is made for mashup DJs, for live mashups, acapellas over instrumentals and all that. It's just a really wicked feature. Something I'll get into more in depth in another video with some examples. But also on here, you can pitch bend and stuff so you can get the tunes in time. I should say, everything that I'm saying here about deck 3 is the same for deck number 4. So hot cues, this is where you can put hot cues in or launch hot cues. And you've still got the play and the mute down there as well. And then the mixer, this is where you can use the touch screen for decks 3 or 4. There's your trim. So it's basically like having that button on the screen. And then the channel fader, which is having this fader, you do that on the screen as well. So, I mean, that for me, like I said, is probably the best feature on this mixer. It is just, I've never seen that mashup menu kind of vibe done before on any mixer, or it's so good, and that is a bit of me right there. Now, unfortunately, that dual deck and the deck move features are only available in Serato DJ, not Rekordbox. That breaks my heart because I am a Rekordbox DJ, but that is something which, if I was to get this mixer, if they didn't bring it into Rekordbox, I would probably switch to Serato just for that, just for those functions there. I mean, they are just superb. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. I mean, as per usual, that ran over longer than I thought it was going to be. In fairness, it kind of shows how much stuff there is on this new DJM-S11 mixer. I mean, it was light when I started filming and it's dark now. But I'm going to be going into the particular features which I really like. I might bring a little friend in to help me sort of do some separate videos on them. And like I said, I've got the DJM-S11 versus the S9 head-to-head comparison video coming as well. Jam-packed full of features, this mixer. Tell me in the comments what your favorite feature is, or maybe something which you were expecting on the new S11 from if you were an S9 user, or, something which you don't particularly like about it. Everything in the comments is good for me to take on board and then maybe incorporate in my videos that I do on this in the future. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the DJKit YouTube channel. There's plenty of other videos similar to this. Share it to friends, do all the stuff which gets my views up, basically. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I've waffled on for long enough, but just to conclude, this mixer is, Pioneer DJ have absolutely nailed this for me. I would like to see the Serato features in Rekordbox. I don't know if that's possible going forward, but that mashup function is just, for people that know me as a DJ, I mean, that's me down to a T right there. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care. Peace.